Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Ali.
And a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsline Live. Now then, the matter of children abuse and women's abuse too has been very much in the headlines despite and in spite of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. And it is apparently a rather serious problem. To discuss that and a little bit more, we've got here with us today Ms. Shamila Gonawela, who is of course the chairperson of the Urban Citizens Organization. Very good evening to you, madam.
Good evening to you, Faraz.
Lovely to see you on the program after a while, and
thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Welcome.
As trying as it may be. But, Ms. Gonawela, first of all I want to ask you, what is this whole business about child abuse? All of a sudden, we've got, the media is full of it. It hasn't, of course, been helped by the discovery of this case in Mount Ravinia with the young girl. Now, initially, at some point, there was this figure of 300 put out, saying that, there was 300 people involved in this. And as of yesterday, we had 43 cases of arrests.
Yes.
Does it suggest that 257 people have got away with it?
Before I answer to you, Faraz, let me take a minute to convey my deepest sympathies towards the loss of your chairman, Mr. Raja Mahendran, who has made a huge impact very positively towards many industries in this country. He would have had thousands of important friends with him, but he also made me feel one of his important friends. So that loss will be felt forever. Now, answering to your question.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gonawela, for those wonderful words about a super human being.
Extraordinary.
He was absolutely extraordinary.
Being.
And Mr. Raja Mahendran, ever the private person, the owner of this network, and a very successful entrepreneur, businessman.
He gave a lot to the country.
He did a lot.
He didn't live off the country. He gave a lot to the country.
But also, he had the flip side to him, didn't he? The side of humanity.
Oh yes.
And that is what I should remember him for.
I will always remember him for that. He did a lot to build the lives of a lot of people in this country, which I don't think I should name.
Such was the life and times of RR. And I believe we owe it to him to continue with that vision.
Yes.
Thank you. So tell me about this business about this child abuse.
Well, if you are to talk about the 15-year-old girl who was forced into prostitution at that young age, well, I wouldn't want to say that things are not happening the right way. Yes, 43 was arrested. They have been produced before courts.
Yeah.
And the case is going on. And we are seeing the other case which is going on now with regard to the death of a 16-year-old girl. Yeah. So let us watch. I feel the investigations are going good, well and right. But the previous one, I feel that it has lost touch, or people are not getting information with regard to it as we did at the beginning, and it's fallen behind with this 16-year-old girl's case. Too many cases coming up.
Yes, I know that you've been championing the cause of women and children's protection and so on. But honestly, I know from members of the public who've contacted me through the show and so on in frustration, that the level of sympathy at the police stations when they go is abysmal. They just feel that this is another nuisance, and they try and just say a few words and shoo away the lady back and so the lady goes back to the abusive husband.
See, with regard to child abuse, if I come back to, one doesn't have to go to the police station. One can directly contact the Child Protection Authority. Mm-hmm. We had the good days when we had Professor Harendra De Silva as the chairman of the National Child Protection Authority. He was very independent. What I feel is these authorities have to be very, very independent. They cannot be biased with religion or position or what political party they belong to. It has to be highly independent. There was a time when, as I said, when Professor Harendra was the chairman, it directly came under the president of the country. He cared for no one, because other than the president, no one else could have given him instructions what to do. So that was the best times of the Child Protection Authority. They have their own police. They can arrest anyone on a complaint, and they can do their own investigations. But unfortunately, we don't see it happening now, Faraz.
But you've been trying to push for a speedier system of justice.
Yes.
And yesterday, the police spokesperson, Senior DIG Adrona, told us about the use of this recorder sort of system, so that the judge in a case won't have to hear the mundane things first. He can go straight into the trial, and the less sort of mundane, forgive me for saying it that way, but the other matters, like matters raised through motions on bail applications and so on and so forth, will be heard by somebody else. So freeing the trial judge, the time for the trial judge to hear a case proper, which of course is wonderful news. It's one step in the right direction, we agree. But what about these juvenile courts? I believe we've just got 2 at the moment.
We have 2 at the moment, one in Battaramulla, one in the north. And when it is a case as such, any magistrate court can act as a juvenile court. But in 2020, in August, I guess, we organized this campaign against child abuse, where Honorable Ali Sabri was one of the guests at the function, and he made an announcement that he would open up more child courts where these cases will be heard and will be given priority just for these cases. So we're expecting some would be happening before the end of the year, but just opening up courts is not going to be the answer to any problem. Awareness and prevention has to take place for us.
True, but we also need dollops of loads of sympathy, empathy, understanding from the police officers. Only a couple of weeks ago, I was contacted by a young female who was trying to report an attempted rape case, and she was told to go back to Kurunagala by the Mount Lavinia police. And the Mount Lavinia police, I'm saying it quite openly because this is all true, the Mount Lavinia police then entertained a claim of threatening, of making a threat against the alleged, would-be rapist, against the family of the victim, and they to say that they showed a distinct lack of sympathy would be the understatement of the century, because they didn't. And this poor girl had to then go to where she lived, which is closer to Jala and Wattala, and they too told her, oh no, you've got to go off to Kurunagala. Yeah, right, really? All that way back again?
It is quite common. I think we need proper training. And the women's desk, women's and children's desk, has to be managed by women police officers, not by men. The new police stations do have a separate area for this purpose, but the old stations, which is small and not having enough space, do not have a special area for this. So it might be in the minor offense area or another area that they record the statement, and everybody sits there, listen to it, various people asking various questions in between. The girl is getting more and more abused by trying to answer these questions. But well, we can keep complaining, That's
But
not the issue.
We need action.
We need action. We need people to give us solutions and give a hand to do it.
And where will we look for solutions?
We urban citizens are working with the Ministry of Honorable Sarath Weerasekara, where we are going to use containers and build offices as the women's and children's desk, a separate office with cameras and fully equipped office. And we are starting one in Colombo.
Have we got money?
Yes, we have donors coming forward to help us with it. So that is one thing that we are doing. The second thing is that we are starting from Colombo district to get all the OICs and talk to them how important it is and how these children should be handled, how they should be spoken to. But in various stages, we will also speak to the lady officers who are in charge of this as to how they should approach. Maybe they can't talk to the children in their uniform, they fear the uniform, the khaki uniform. And so they have to get proper formal training. Unfortunately, whoever gets training at the moment, they end up doing typing work, cleaning work, going to check handbags in a function where VIPs would be coming, or some clerical work in the police station. So they don't get to sit at this particular desk.
So we need a real change.
We need a real change from administration.
Is our current minister in charge of the police, Mr. Sarath Weerasekara?
He's very sensitive.
Is he sensitive?
He's very sensitive towards this.
And has he got a plan?
He does. Yes, he does. And he's already arranged for 3-wheelers to go to the police stations, to the women's desk, because somebody who is abused or assaulted or raped, after recording the statement, the girl or the lady is unable to be taken to the JMO because there is no transport. For that purpose, he is given a 3-wheeler to every police station. And also, he's providing a computer with the camera and the mic where even their statements could be recorded from the police station without taking them around to various places for giving their entry.
So things on that front are sort of going along well.
Yes, it is, but just because Sarath Weerasekara can sit there and make laws, we can train people to do it, we can volunteer to do it. But as a society, we have to be very responsible for us. How many of us would have voiced our opinion when we saw somebody being abused in the bus? We don't speak out. Even in an office or any public place, unacceptable comment, a rude comment, or some physical approach, none of us voice our opinion.
I think you're quite right. In another case, I'm talking about this Gonawela case, this girl realized that she was in for something not very nice when her so-called boss had booked only one room and suddenly announced that they'd have to stay. And she used her presence of mind to call a friend and so on, and texted the friend. And when the friend turned up to the hotel to pick her up, the reception staff showed an absolute lack of empathy. They didn't want them to go into they wanted them to leave the hotel, and they had to sort of force their way towards the room. All the time, this girl was virtually being held captive. Virtually.
For us, these are only isolated issues. There are hundreds of thousands of issues. There are over 40,000 issues in the books of the Child Protection Authority. There are thousands of issues going to courts. But are we going to take issue by issue? If you see today, we are protesting on the case of Ishilani, who passed away with burn injuries. But what have we done from independence onwards? I think we as Sri Lankans have spent a lot of time on protesting, holding placards, picketing, demanding. But
well, yes, but also, the folk who live in the hill country, the traditional homeland of our tea industry, I mean, they pay these trade union movements 5 rupees per day.
Yes.
And I would like them to tell me, simple question, over the last, let's say, 10, 15 years, 20 years if you like, how many professionals have come out of the line rooms, if you like? Why are the line rooms still there? Why are these people still being kept down? There are, I have met one.
They have been forced to be where they are.
Exactly. And so where's the return for that 5 rupees per day?
This is my question too. We just take them. They are protesting. Against whom? Our people here, they write various things on Facebook, making allegations towards various people, maybe the police, maybe the judges, maybe the politicians. But if you take the plantation industry, what has improved in their lives? Nothing. Is it education? It is their social or cultural life? Is it economically? Nothing. Only thing that the upcountry area has produced is cheap labor, child labor, early school dropouts.
Yes, and then I venture to say, thank God for the supermarket chains, because most of them have found
they
employment.
have found some decent job not to be domestic helpers.
Indeed.
Thanks to the supermarkets.
Yes.
So it is, I think our people in this country do not understand democracy, and especially representational democracy. You vote for people.
Well, you know, I put it to you a different way. I believe that this is the fault of successive legislators right throughout our history.
Definitely.
Where we have only paid lip service to education. The heart of the problem in not understanding and appreciating the values of democracy, I believe, lies in the fact that there has been no real commitment on the part of successive governments to invest in education, because knowledge is power.
I need to add to that, we don't have accountable people in this country, especially the government servants. Could it be it could be the politicians or the full-time government servants. If you take every citizen in this country, we are being looked after, monitored by at least 14 officials, starting from the community leader, the community police officer, the Grama Sevaka, the councillor in the area, the development officer who has been appointed by the district secretariat. So it goes on, the list goes on. So had they been doing their job right, if they are monitoring their local area, which is about 1,200 to 1,400 homes, the way the Grama Sevaka area is being broken up that way. So if they have been accountable, doing their job right, they should know everything that's happening within their area for us. So it is also their negligence. As much as graduates come to the streets and say, we want a job, we've got our degree in hand, and then they are being put into the divisional secretariat or given some job as and the Samurdi, Niyamaka, all these officials are within an area of 1,200 to 1,400 homes. Their job is to look after these households. So have they done their job right? So it is the public that has to be also more responsible and to ensure that this is working, this mechanism is working.
Rather than the cycle of despair to carry on.
And we are one of the first countries to ratify the UN treaty on
labor?
On protection of child.
Oh, I see. Shamila Gonawela, thank you. Let's go for a quick peek at the headlines for this evening's Primetime News. We'll see you on the other side.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukut.
President inspects Army headquarters. Government says salary anomalies will be addressed in the budget. Trade unions continue to strike in disagreement. As the government permitted chemical fertilizer imports.
මේක කියනවා මෙතෙක් තහනම් කරලා තිබූ නොයෙකුත් රසායනික පොහොර ආනයනය කිරීම අගෝස්තු 1 වෙනිදා ඉඳලා ඉවත් කරලා තියෙනවා කියලා ඒ වෙනුවට ලයිසන් එකක් යටතේ ගේන්න පුළුවන් කියලා.
Finance Secretary says no decision to reverse the ban on chemical fertilizer imports. Protests staged opposite Parliament against KDU bill. Government to amend the bill, a statement by the core cabinet spokesperson. Equestrian athlete Matilda Carlson represents Sri Lanka at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics.
Bellboy's got you covered. Download Bellboy today to get all your household appliance fixing and repairs done. Now available on Android and iOS.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Ali.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in conversation with the head of the chairperson of the Urban Citizens Organization, who is also a councillor, Ms. Shamila Gonawela. Welcome back now, and I would like to ask you, how high is the level of corruption at the Colombo Municipal Council? How high is it?
I don't know whether it's correct for me to say while I am sitting there as a councillor.
Yes, but we stand for the truth.
I would call it the most corrupt institution in the country for us. Sadly, we have a budget allocation of 16 billion. 16 billion. It's a lot of money for a local government authority, but corruption is on the rise by the day. And I would say that more than doing community work, I have been looking into where there is corruption, waste and malpractices.
Would you say that you've had success in stopping some of it?
Oh yes. I would like to mention that there was a purchase of exercise books on my complaint made to the internal audit, and they did audit report. They found they had ignored all the procuremental guidelines, and finally we got a discount on purchasing books. The discount was 43 million.
Wow.
I don't think you can get a discount of 43 million when you go to purchase a 5-star hotel.
Right. So what is the root cause? So who's not doing something?
Well, what I could do is to report all this to the president, to the governor. I'm doing it, but in the council it is the mayor and the commissioner who can make decisions. But a lot of companies that is registered to do tenders with us, they make so much of blunders, but nothing is been blacklisted. And when we bypass or ignore tender or procuremental guidelines, some action has to be taken. And well, whether it is the mayor or the commissioner, I don't know. But you may have seen in the papers recently that the mayor and a few councillors are wanting the commissioner out.
Are these bona fide cases, or is it just political chicanery?
There is some dispute, which I am not sure what the internal issue is. But it's not very healthy to run an institution. When there is division between the two big seats, it's quite difficult because it's a political administration versus the public servants.
I have somebody who contacted me earlier and said that they have heard that in terms of the garbage tender, that after the tender was awarded, that quite literally bags of money was brought in, clearly for distribution at the council. True? False?
There is that allegation. I cannot say yes because I've not seen, I've not taken anything.
Yeah.
But the tender...
Have you ever been offered any of this money in bags?
Unfortunately, no, for us.
Would you accept?
No, I've been paid by the people to do a job. And we women were appointed. 25% of quota was given in local government authorities only because they wanted less corruption, less waste, and less malpractices. So that is what I am being sent in there.
So the story has some traction. It has some. There's some
yes,
smoke there.
It is been widely spoken about. It's been in the media. It's doing its circles in the council, within the council. But however, if you take the garbage tender awarded a few years ago to now, it is more than double the amount that we've been paying. And each, the council area is 36 kilometers, square kilometers, and it's been broken into 6 administration areas, where each is about 6 kilometers. And we're paying over 40 million for that. Is a lot of money, but I don't understand why we couldn't have our own mechanism, breaking it even into smaller areas and having our own people.
Yes, why it appears that you all have, the council has farmed out or started using contractors rather than having it in-house.
This is the issue. This was not started to do justice to the present mayor. It was not started by her. It was started some time ago. But over the years, our officials have gone on foreign training. And they've gone to other countries, seen what is happening.
Have they learned?
They have learned what to do. But what and where have we implemented that? Unfortunately, there was a time when we were handing over garbage, paying that much of money per ton, but the weigh bridge was not working for over a year or two. So how did we weigh? How much did we spend? Where did the money go? This is all questionable. This is people's money we are talking about.
The people's monies and also the people's lives.
Definitely.
If we cast our minds back to the great disaster involving garbage at Mitotamula,
more than 30 people died there.
Yes, so in a way, it's comparable to that other sad event, which was the Easter Sunday bombings. Doesn't the lives of people matter to all our officialdom? Is life so cheap that you can dispense with all this, that you can risk their lives?
Faraz, we had a Japanese delegation coming here, and they did a report on it, which we are yet to see. I've asked from many officials, I've still not got it. But we have an internal audit report and the government audit report, which confirms that a professor from Peradeniya University, or external source, had informed that this garbage dump can collapse any time.
And then they sprayed it with something.
They did spray something which was not tested anywhere before, and it was purchased from a company which is not even selling chemicals. It was some glass company which, when one of our councillors had gone in there to check what this place was, it is something to do with glass. They didn't even have a sample of any chemical that they were selling. This was not on tender, it was just purchased, and there's evidence to say that there was some chemical being sprayed there. But the audit report also says that there were malpractices while damages were being paid or while compensation was paid for moving out of those homes. But however, 30 or 32 lives we lost due to the collapse of the garbage dump. Lots of things that the Auditor General's report has recommended, but I don't see anything happening.
There was something wrong with my messages. I've only started getting them now. Justice delayed is justice denied. The message says here that you are in government and you need to push for speedier trials in terms of women and children.
Yes, we are doing. We are in the government, but I am in the lowest political platform, which is local government. We are not being heard as much as the parliamentarians or the provincial councillors would be.
But you have the ears of the powers that be.
Yes, I have the support.
And therefore
also.
you can
I am doing
serve
it.
the people better.
I am doing my duty by the women and children of this country in the best I could do.
Are you doing your best, or can you do a bit better?
Well, we can all do better. The whole community has to support us. It's not just sitting there and criticizing.
Mr. Ajitrona said that soft hurt was, well, he didn't say it's okay, but he indicated that.
Where do you draw a line?
Well, where do you draw a line? But surely our constitution envisages only one class of person. We're all equal. The law is the law is the law. So therefore, how can a senior police officer say that, look, excuse me, sometimes it's okay to have a little shot if it doesn't hurt too much?
No, it's not okay, not at all acceptable.
So soft hurt or any hurt is unacceptable.
Faraz, there are organizations or NGOs that would promote divorce. They would talk the subject of domestic violence and say you cannot tolerate domestic violence, we can give you legal aid, we will support you, and then next thing is you go to courts and you are divorced. But that is not either Ajit Rohan or the police or we as an organization would push for. We would try to minimize the divorce in this country. We would try to keep families together as much as possible. But,
yes, but
hurt is hurt, whether it
exactly.
is physical, emotional or mental hurt.
Even culture should be within the law.
Definitely, yes.
There's nothing
Definitely,
above the law.
yes. Definitely, yes. That is why people even the women even fought for the MMDA. No culture, no religion, whether it's male, female, big or small, hurt is hurt, and physical pain or mental pain is pain.
Shamila Gonawela, thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me, Faraz.
And that's the way it was on Newsline Live. It's now time for the primetime news from News First. Take care, great evening, and as always, God bless you.
Good evening and welcome. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. Bringing you the news, I'm Tharusha Kumar Singha. Up first, in your headlines. President inspects Army headquarters.